What is up, YouTube? KM888 here, and I am back with an updated version of my Punk Adventure Spright Synchro deck. I took this deck after Europeans to YCS Utrecht. I did really well. I only lost once during the entire day. I only played for 6 rounds, so it's a really good record going X1. But to be fair, I am just too tired of this. My life's too busy at the moment and I really can't hold out the entire day, so yeah, I just went home. Some people might call me crazy, but I really don't mind. I went there to have fun and I had some really fun games and I was really happy about it. So, but yeah, I wanted to show off my deck list since it's not conventional. It's not Spright Runic, it's not tier elements, it's nothing meta related at the moment, and I still think that this actually works. So I'm gonna go over the deck list pretty fast. I hope, because a 60 card list is always a lot. So let's get into this. First things first, for the Punk engine, I am playing the triple Italy standard, 2 Xiamen, 2 Foxy Tune, the 1 Deer Note, and the 1 Ogre Dance. I'm only playing 2 Foxy Tune because, to be honest, I don't want to see this. I rather see the Italy, of course. I'm not playing 1 because I am running Desires in the deck, so you really want to see the Foxy Tune, not have it get banished. Yeah, it's the minimal engine. I think after Bisted will come out, I might cut the Ogre Dance. I'm already testing around with this. And then for the Punk engine, I'm also playing 2 semi-bricks, so I can go into Barone with 1 Xiamen, basically, and a card to discard for Foxy Tune. And those 2 cards are the Psychic Tracker and the Mizuki. If you want to see the combo, I will show it off in the next video. It's actually really easy, but you just want to have access to Barone and some bodies, so yeah. I mean, it's exactly why I'm running this. For the Adventure engine, triple Water Enchantress with the 1 Foolish Burial. You really want to see this. This is probably the most important engine of the entire deck, just because of the fact that it grinds out a lot. Triple Rite of Eremisier, obviously. 2 Fateful Adventure, simply because of the fact that I play Desires, I need to have 2. And opening this still means that either you're getting to your Water Enchantress for a smaller play, or you can get to your level 7s, and those are the most important things because you need to make Barone. So yeah, and then the 1 Draco back, it's still a brick. Going first, this is just fodder for Magician's Souls. Going second, it's really great, but I can't see myself playing 2 anymore. I did that for a while, but the 1 is enough. Oh yeah, and then not to forget the Griffin and the Legal Knight. I'm playing 2. I was debating even playing 3 in a 60 card deck because you just want to see it, but it's really not necessary to play more. Spright engine, it's only a mini engine, so I'm playing 1 blue, 1 jet, 1 red, and then the 1 smashers. The reason you're playing this is because at the end of your combo, you can actually just make a second link 2, overlay for Gigantic Spright, and go into blue jet smashers for an additional interruption on top of having an Elf and an IP Masquerena because of this. And then your opponent's turn, when you revive the blue again, you get a red for additional follow-up. This could be important, but it just makes the deck more versatile in general. And then I'm also playing 1 Hyperia. This might seem weird when you're not playing a pure Spright build, but if you have either the blue, the jet already, or the opponent is playing Spright and you're going second, the Gigantic Spright doesn't have anything good to specialize from the deck. So going with Hyperia just facilitates 2 more draws because of the elf. You get a draw in your turn, and then in the opponent's turn you just get another draw. And since you're playing hand traps and you're playing so many engines, you have amazing follow-up because of this card. But just the 1. It's also an additional level 2, so if you draw multiples of these, you can actually already play with Spright. You don't really need more than this, so The Synchro engine is really easy. I was playing one Steam the Cloak. This is probably going to be replaced after the next set, but yeah, and then triple Sengen and Arborea, these were amazing. Like, summoning the Sengen just gives you so much advantage because you don't have to go into the Arborea for your next play. If you already have monsters, you have extenders, you can just add hand traps with this. So I've added so many Ash Blossoms or DD Crow off of this during the tournament. It's actually really fun. But yeah, these the reason why you're playing these four is all the same. You just need to get into Barone with Dagda. So, spoiler alert, my my deck's playing the Artifact site. I'll already put it on the field. The general point of the deck is through the Punk engine or through these with the Adventure engine, you're gonna get to Dagda with Barone. And that's what you need. Dagda Barone, so you can send the site to the graveyard and then revive it to play around Dark Ruler or Lightning Storm, stuff like that. If you can't get to Barone, I have other means to destroy the site, so that's still a thing. But you need a level 3 tuner that gives you another body. So if you draw the Sengen, you use this and a monster to go into Dagda. It could be the token if you don't care about possible Nibiru. Then you get the Arborea, special summon it, and you make Barone. If you have this, you make Barone first, get a token, and then with the 2 tokens from the Adventure engine and this, you make the Dagda. The only thing you need to do is force out the Dagda somewhere with another card. You have enough. There are ways to play around not having an initial trigger, but I'll go over that in a second, so yeah. Then for a draw engine that I'm playing 2 Souls and 2 Illusion of Chaos. These are just, they're so good. I mean, just seeing one in your opening hand together with the Faithful means 2 additional draws and an additional body with Magician's Souls. It's so good. It's amazing. 2 Small Worlds. I didn't want to see 2 in my opening hand, so I opted to go for 2 in the main deck. If I see it, it's great because you're picking whatever you're missing for your combo. You can bridge a lot in this deck. Like, you have so many options. It's crazy. 2 Pot of Desires. It's all consistency. It's all for consistency. You don't. I don't even care if I banish the side. Like, there's nothing that you care about. Like, the only thing that actually hurts is if you banish like 3 or 4 end board possibilities. So that would suck. But most of the time, like, that doesn't happen. And Desires is just amazing. So yeah. And then to follow up with all these draws that you can do, I'm also playing 2 Triple Tactic Talents in the main. You're gonna see this a lot where I play 2-offs of cards that are hard once per turns. If you see 2 of this in your opening hand, that just sucks. If you see 1, that's amazing. Doesn't matter if you're going first or going second, it has its utilities. The card is just great. And it's also a going second card, which is really important because going second cards are needed in this format. I am still playing 3 Mystic Mine. I know there are so many decks that have outs because of the runics. Runic spells just means they have an instant out. But Tear Element, not as easy. They still have to draw it or they have to send it on beforehand. But most of the time, Mystic Mine just gives you an additional turn or 2, and that's where its power lies. I'm never using this card to deck my opponent out. That's just not what this is meant for. In this deck, try to break the board. Oh, you fail. Mystic Mine, get an additional turn or 2. Or you see that you can't break it, you Mystic Mine, they have to negate it, and you can break their board with your other cards. It's really great. Cards should definitely be banned. I mean, it's just so unfair. I had a game on the YCS where my opponent was playing the Trap Eldritch deck, summoned Dogmatica Ecclesia, set 5, pass his turn. I just waited a turn because, like, okay, he's not going to OTK me or anything. I can't break this board now at the moment. Anyway, just pokes for 1500 damage. I'm like, alright, it's fine. Top deck, Mystic Mine, just slap it on the board. He didn't have an out in his 5 back row at that point. So since I didn't have any monsters, he couldn't really activate his traps in a good way for him that were efficient. So he had to play around with some weird interactions for it to out a Mystic Mine. He didn't have a full Eldritch engine yet. He only had a Conquistador. No lords were present at that point. So I got like 3 or 4 turns out of this Mystic Mine, and as soon as he did have a lord, I already had some hand traps. I had DD Crow, I had a Call by the Grave at that point, so I could just banish the lord when it was in the graveyard. Like, he couldn't do anything because of this, so that was really amazing. Call by the Grave, as I said, card is nuts. Paired it up with triple DD Crow. Now, the DD Crows and the Call by the Grave are mostly in the deck because of Tier Element. I know that Runic Spright is at the moment the best deck, but I fear Tier Element more. Like, I have a neat little thing in my extra deck that helps me a lot against the Runic Spright matchup, but the Tier Element matchup really can hurt when they start fusing in your turn. So more than often, I just keep the DD Crows, just like the Call by, for my turn, and then just hit the power card that they want to do in my turn, and I can just play through it and win. So yeah, really great. These might definitely be replaced by the Bisted, what's it called, Magnum? Bisted Magnum, something like that. The one that searches the dragon during the end phase. I mean, that's just another body on the field on top of the banish, and I'm not using these for any other matchups anyway, so yeah. Triple Nibiru, the Primal Being, I still love this card at the moment. The fact that it's removal and it's a body on board is actually really good, because I can use that body for my Link 2 plays. And whenever I just, like, even if they can't play through the nip, you nip them, some of their resources are gone, and you have less cards to break through, and that's amazing. Only 2 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. I don't like this card as much in this format, but I still think it's a necessity to play it at least. And at 2 it was really good. I didn't see it too often. I didn't want to see multiples, and I often used it as a small world bridge as well. Because it's a level 3, it has 0 attack, awkward attribute in fire. It's a zombie, so like that doesn't conflict with anything else. And searching the Water Enchantress because this is a level 3, or searching a Sengen that's just perfect. 1 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. You might be thinking, card is bonkers, why are you, like, it's just bad, why are you playing it? While it is a small world bridge, which is already really good in itself, it is also a target for the emergency teleport. I've seen a lot of Spooky Dogwood during the YCS, and when you go emergency teleport for Xiamin, if they would chain their Spooky Dogwood on the emergency teleport, you can just go into Ghost Ogre instead. Because it has 0 attack, they will burn themselves during the end phase, and you can win because of that. So playing the 1 Ghost Ogre was actually relevant for me. And then on top of that, you can search it from the Punk Synchro. So if you already have the Psychic Tracer, which I've already shown, you can just go into this, and that's actually really good. And then the final hand trap of the deck and the last 3 cards are triple Infinite Impermanence. Definitely one of the best hand traps in this format, so definitely have to play them if you're playing hand traps. For hand traps itself, it's like 3, 6, 9, 12. I'm playing 12 hand traps in a 60 card deck. It's not guaranteed to see like 2 or 3 or something, but it's a decent amount of going second cards, and that's what counts in this scenario. 3 tokens. I use this for the Steam the Cloak token, and when I nip them, and then this is mostly what I use for the Brave engine, the Adventure engine. Extra deck. Salamangreat Almirage. You need this because of the Steam the Cloak and the Sengen. Actually pretty fun card. It's really easy to combo off because of having this, and it's a fire attribute, which is important for Access Code Talker. So yeah. Link 2s, I have the Dagda, which is important for the site, of course. Barricade Borg Blocker, I might have to explain this. The reason that I'm playing this is because I needed a Link 2 that can trigger at any point. Like if you go Dagda in the extra monster zone and you're making any Link 2 beneath it, if this can trigger, I can trigger my Dagda to set aside. And that's what I needed. And there aren't a lot of Link 2s in the game right now that actually still do that, because if the opponent doesn't have a board, you're not going to do anything with a Nightmare Phoenix or with a Nightmare Cerberus, or it just sucks. And they're like, search the database, like there aren't any, there's just not anything that can trigger just on the summon anymore since they banished the Helki Fibrax. It's really weird, but so I opted for this. And it's actually really good because you can discard a card in your hand and you get back either the Faithful or the Draco back from your graveyard as follow-up for the next turn. So that's actually really good in itself. But the discard is also important because if you have any of the Sprites or you have the Hyperia in your hand, they are better in the graveyard where you can revive them with Elf. So yeah. Speaking of Elf, the one Elf. This card is so good that if I had more room in the extra deck, like 20 or something, I'd play a second. But yeah, alas. IP Masquerena, this is just mandatory. Your end board is most of the time Barone, Elf Masquerena with the Sighting Graveyard and set Smashers. So that's actually pretty good. And then the final Link 2 is Dark, the Dark Charmer Gloomy. This card is nuts. I've stolen so many Spright Blues this week, like last weekend. It's actually pretty fun to use. So yeah, that's it for the Link 2s. Link 3s, the one Celine and the Nightmare Unicorn. I almost cut this because I'm just not feeling the Nightmare Unicorn sometimes, but then, like in testing it never comes up. But then you go to a YCS and suddenly you have to Nightmare Unicorn something, and having it is just great. I've opted for this artwork over the other. I think this artwork is way cooler, even though it's a gold rare. But yeah. And then Celine is just obviously, if you go Dark, that's an immediate spellcaster. You summon something from the opponent, go into Celine, and then you go into Access Code Talker. It's really easy to bait stuff out. And then my other Link 4 of choice is a Unchained Abomination. Now, the reason I am playing this card is actually quite nifty. So if you don't see any level 3 tuners in your opening hand, or you don't have a way to go into a level 3 tuner, you have a problem, because you cannot make Baron. If you cannot make Baron, you cannot go to your side lock. So how do you go to your side lock? Well, if you already don't have a level 3 tuner, you might as well just have only the Adventure Engine maybe. So you end on, for example, your Griffin Rider. This is like the second most common board at that point. So you open with the Griffin Rider, you open with a token, and then you have the combination of Spright Elf pointing towards the Griffin and the IP Masquerena. So this is your most common board after the Barone board. When they activate, and then the side set, so one sec. So you often have Smasher set and you have the side set. So at that point, this is your board. I think you can see everything except for the Elf maybe. But the thing that happens is your opponent activates any card. You go activate Griffin to negate. Griffin negates and destroys. That's important. If that goes through, you're going to chain your Spright Elf, and then you're going to chain your IP Masquerena. So IP Masquerena will resolve, and you will go into the Unchained Abomination. Thanks to the Elf, you still get to special summon. So you're gonna summon the blue or the Hyperia or whatever. Blue might search you a red, so you get after the resolution. So that could actually be a thing. But right now, because you summon blue, and then the Griffin will negate and destroy. Because a card has been negated or destroyed, your Unchained Abomination will actually trigger, and you can pop the side. And then side triggers and special summons itself. And then you also get a blue surge. So you just have a way, thanks to the Enchant Abomination, to actually proc your sight, which is really important in a deck like this. So yeah, this is definitely a must in this deck. Then for synchros, the one Barone, Punk Gem Dragon Drive. This is a card you need for the Punk combo to go into Barone. Same with the Immortal Dragon. This card is actually nuts. If you use its effect to dump your Mizuki, this becomes a level 2. If you have any of the sprites in your hand, you can just special summon them and just go off, because this is a level 2, and then you make Baron. So yeah. Final synchro of the extra deck is Cyber's Quantum Dragon. This plus Elf is so strong. If Spright Runic doesn't have like Talons or the Lava Golem, they won't out this pretty easily, because they can only attack this if you have the, a Link monster on board. So if you have this Spright Elf with the Quantum, they can only target the Cyber's Quantum Dragon because of its effect, because you have a Link. But because you have the Elf, they can't target the Cyber's Quantum Dragon. So they can't target anything on the field. You can have all the cards that you want. You can have a Barone. You can have all the monsters. They cannot target anything. So yeah, and because the Runic Sprite deck just loves to target, I mean, this is really good then. Also in the battle, when this card does battle, you can just bounce the monster, which is really good against your element. So that's also a thing. And then the final card is the Gigantic Sprite. This is often, this is always used to summon the blue or jet, depending what you have. But if you already have the jet in grave or in hand, you just summon Hyperia with this and you get extra pluses. So yeah, that's really, really cool. And then for, I guess, the Slammer, my side deck, I am playing one Red Resonator just because Gigantic Sprite is a thing, and why not, right? I always summon Gigantic Sprite with 3200 attack, Red Resonator, summoning, targeting the Gigantic Sprite, gain life points, then go into Elf, use it again. I mean, it's stupid. You can only gain the effect once per turn, but you just do it during your opponent's standby, during your opponent's main phase or something. If you go plus 3200 twice, they're not going to go over that pretty easily. So yeah, Red Resonator is just stupid. Spright Carrot. In the back row matchups, this is actually a thing that you might side in over the Spright Red. That's actually important right then. 3 Cosmic Cyclones. I felt Cosmics is better than something like Lightning Storm. Like, sure, Runic Sprite, they set three cards, they have their field spell. I want to get rid of the field spell. Like, if you have Lightning Storm, sure, you're clearing the board, but then they chain the card to special summon the stupid fusion, protects the field spell, and I mean, no, just want to get rid of it. Just get rid of that field spell. And then to go along with the Cosmics, 3 Evenly Matched. This card was so popular during the YCS. A lot of people were even main decking it, and I see why. But these are basically my going second cards against most decks. Like even Tier Element, they set cards, so Cosmic is still good. And then for going first cards, I had 2 Trap Trick with Double Sanctum. The reason for this is sometimes when you're going post-siding, when you're going first, the opponents have more hand traps. So if you already have the Trap Trick to go into Sanctum, you don't need to do your entire deck that play to get the scythe out, and just Sanctum, and you can keep your Barone. You can. It's way better to have this when you know you're going first than to actually having to do your Barone play. So yeah, that's the thing. And then 3 different Dimension Grounds, mostly against Tier Element, but it was good against other decks as well. You have 5 with the 2 Trap Tricks, so why not? That was it for the deck profile. Hope you guys liked it. I will do a combo tutorial in the next video, and I'll see you guys later. Ciao!